And welcome everybody, and welcome Electra from Digital Playhouse and Accountants on Chain. And Electra is our dedicated expert today. She's more expert than the rest of us, even if she's telling me that she's not. I'm sure she knows a lot more, and I'm really looking forward to learning a bit more about blockchain and digital currencies, digital literacy, technology. And Electra is an IPA fellow member, so she's an accountant and has been in practice and has kind of moved her practice to being more tech-oriented, advisor-oriented. And Accountants on Chain is you know, feel free to edit this, Electra, but is a collective and, you know, aimed at learning together and sharing information about this new world of technology so that we can all help each other and not be afraid of the changes that are coming, which we will hear more about. So welcome, Electra, and over to you.
Thanks, Jo. Hi, everyone. And yeah, thank you, AAT, for having me here today. It's a real privilege to get to talk to you about my passionate interest in all things blockchain and the accounting industry. And good on you for taking an interest. It's all about being curious. I'm not an expert, just really curious.
More expert than us.
Wanting to share and trying to just encourage others to do it. So what's Accountants on Chain? Well, it's actually a project of the charity I co-founded last year called Digital Playhouse Foundation, which is a regional technology learning hub that is promoting digital financial literacy in the regions. And we have three projects. These are our flagship projects on our mission to learn, build and support individuals, entrepreneurs, students, creatives, businesses entering the crypto and Web3 space to be able to navigate it well and, you know, be literate, avoid scams and be successful in the new evolving digital economy. So we have a School of Bitcoin where people are learning a decentralized autonomous education system that I'm not building, someone else is. We do have a learner developer community, Stacks Australia, which is about building the app smart contracts NFTs on the Stacks blockchain, which is connected to the Bitcoin network. But all of this entrepreneurial innovative activity that happens here needs to be supported by advisors. So that's what Accountants on Chain is creating a community of crypto curious and Web3 active advisors, accountants, bookkeepers who can support the success of those entering the digital economy. So yeah, we're a registered charity, Blockchain Australia members, and I welcome you to get in touch with me, connect with me.
So I'll just jump in there. So regular people know you are welcome to put questions in the Q&A box, and we can get to that through the talk if we can. And if we don't get all questions answered on the fly through the session, we will have time at the end for more questions. So feel free to throw your questions at Electra.
Okay, thanks, Jo. So this is what I'm going to cover today. It looks like a lot, but don't worry, I just want you to sort of, if you're not familiar with a lot of these terms, it's a good time to start becoming familiar here, to hear them spoken in some real life context that I want to try and draw to what we're used to in sort of small to medium businesses. And also sharing some of my own experience of crypto with small to medium businesses. So just starting with the key principles, there's so much to know in this space, but I'm trying to filter it down here. What decentralization is all about, what's happening with adoption of crypto in business, the scale of Bitcoin and blockchain, the ecosystem in Web3, and I'll go through what Web3 is. There are sort of opportunities for different SME businesses in this new Web3 evolving new iteration of the internet. Certain client profiles and tooling. I mean, we all want to get the job done, and it's a good place to learn about this stuff is on the tools. So some zero integrated tooling we've been using to get data from the blockchain into normal accounting, which is challenging because we don't actually have accounting standards that recognise digital assets in the way that they're being used. I won't go into that too much today, just talking more about sort of practical places where we can start learning. Our role, look, challenges, opportunities for us, the businesses that will need our help and what they'll need help with, what to start thinking about now, and where to start learning, whatever level we're at. So yeah, I'd like you to come away today having a bit of a broader idea of how crypto and blockchain is used in business, rather than just you know, tax accountants see a lot of just investment going on, or we see people just buying it and holding it, hodling it or trading it. But some business owners are starting to buy it for entrepreneurial experimental reasons, and it's good to start asking the clients questions. Why do you buy crypto? Perhaps before they buy it in their business, so we can help them organize it, what to be on the lookout for with them, what the opportunities in their industry might be, how we can assist them, and yeah, where we stand in it all. Okay, so the general disclaimer, if I said it, I didn't say it. I'm not giving advice today, just sharing my my experiences, and hoping that you might share yours next year as some of these clients come to your desk. Okay, get advice. All right, so just starting with the key principles to start with. Got a really good book here. I should get royalties for this. Crypto Dictionary. Okay, it gives everyday real life familiar examples of all these terms that I'm going to use, and yeah, it's a really handy one. As a beginner, these are concepts that we need to tackle first to ask people, so that we're able to ask people the right questions at the right time, because the knowledge and innovation in this space is growing so rapidly that by next year, in my opinion, any financial professional working in the digital realm will need to be generally conversant on these topics and understand their relevance. Okay, so there's a lot here. You might have to spend a week or two reading about this, but what I want to draw your attention to, the thing to understand about blockchain is that it's not something you use on its own. It enhances the benefits of other emerging technologies. So you might start hearing talk about the convergence of blockchain with Internet of Things and AI and big data, or logic, and combining these technologies, how that is going to revolutionize how business gets done. So when we integrate blockchain with other technologies, it can improve how the data is managed. It can make things more efficient and more scalable, especially if it's decentralized, and you know, for many different sectors, particularly the supply chains and others. So blockchain is like just really like a memory. It creates like a secure record of transactions. It's indelible, and of transactions and exchanges of data, and brings trust to the transactions in a network. So yes, a decentralized network that stores the record of ownership of digital assets with no trusted third party. So that means no banks, no government, no third parties, just code. Just another way of looking at blockchain is it's software, okay? But it's trustless. You don't have to trust someone. You don't have to trust a board of directors or anyone to make decisions and do things, because it's coded to happen, permissionless and immutable, meaning what's on the blockchain can't be changed. Or if it is, it's very difficult. It's noticeable. But that also depends on you know, how public the blockchain is, how decentralized it is. So there are also private blockchains that are probably going to be that are being built out. They're like companies and groups of companies and governments as well. But the public blockchain, the decentralized blockchain, is based on Bitcoin principles, which is peer-to-peer. Anyone can participate on it, so that it's fully decentralized. So yeah, where it's the network isn't controlled by a central entity, it's distributed across a public blockchain network of computers. So it's like a one big computer network maintained by computers around the world, rather than on one server. So yeah, look, these concepts can be easily found. 101 Blockchains had a good example, so I put that link there. Jo, will we be sharing these slides? I don't mind if we do.
If you would like to put that together, I can add that to the website with the recording of the session. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put something together.
Yeah, up to you. Yeah. I was going to ask about the book you showed us earlier. Is that can you either put a link in or give us the title and author or something so that
yeah, I've got a few books to show you today.
Oh, okay.
No, I'll give you a list of my library. I share everything. This is the
Okay.
whole spirit of open source.
Yes,
technology.
absolutely. Great.
Open source knowledge too. It's the only way for us to all get there. Okay, so I'm going to start with Bitcoin. Okay, this is so I understand Bitcoin like money. I like the idea of Bitcoin as money. And the more you learn about it, the more you might understand why other people do. And hundreds of millions of people are seeing the benefits of Bitcoin as money in some countries as well. I see crypto as more like shares in companies, but you know, there are different ways to look at it. So launched in 2009, Bitcoin was the world's largest crypto. It is the world's largest cryptocurrency by market share. And the Bitcoin network is a peer-to-peer payment network that operates on the cryptographic kind of protocol. So a really good place to start is the Bitcoin white paper. Literally, it's hard to read, but even just reading the first few pages, you'll get what it's about. So Bitcoin isn't legally recognized in Australia as money, but it was created as a global peer-to-peer, decentralized, kind of more secure money in response to the 2008 global financial crisis. And its growth since then has been largely as a store of value. I guess people holding on to it, expecting it to be worth more in future, for the next GFC, or as a hedge against inflation. And it's had greater adoption in countries where there are large numbers of people unbanked. For example, in Africa, where you know everyone has a phone, just about, but only 1 in 5 people actually have a bank account, but they can transact peer-to-peer using Bitcoin on their phones. But on that point, users send and receive Bitcoins. A smaller unit of Bitcoin is called Satoshis. There are, I always get this wrong, 100 million, I always forget, Satoshis in a Bitcoin. And Satoshis are settled on the Lightning network. It's a layer 2 network over the Bitcoin network, because the Bitcoin network, if there was thousands of transactions being settled on it every second, it'd be really congested and slow. So that's how people pay on it. That's how it's been made scalable. And a Bitcoin node is like a computer that connects to the Bitcoin network. There's about 100,000 nodes around the world. So that's where the transactions are being verified and it's being mined. So specifically, the Bitcoin nodes make sure that the network follows the rules. Controls the number of Bitcoins per block and to prevent double spending. So that's what makes it kind of secure. And it's capped. It's a capped supply. You can't print more Bitcoin past 21 million. So yeah, read the Bitcoin white paper. Just an interesting factoid. The word blockchain was never actually used in the original Bitcoin white paper, even though blockchain technology had been around for a while. But the words block and chain appear in the white paper. The block being the vehicle that bundles the Bitcoin transactions, links them together, forming a chain of blocks. So they didn't use the word blockchain in there, but it kind of it gave us that term, I guess. And now we have the word blockchain. So you hear people say, I'm not interested in Bitcoin, but I'm interested in blockchain, like they're talking the technology underlying Bitcoin. It sounds smart, but I think you really need to understand where it all began, the genesis of the token economy, and understand why it works on a proof of work consensus, which I won't go into today, but very interesting to understand. Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency network in the world, has moved to proof of stake. So they're good concepts, because you'll hear a lot of arguments between which one is better and why Bitcoin should stay proof of work. Okay. Crypto. There are so many kinds. So yeah, I think there's been an increased awareness of crypto, largely thanks to the media telling us a lot lately about central bank digital currencies being considered. So they're government-controlled digital currencies, which there are different types: wholesale and retail, which would be for the general population; wholesale for sort of interbank settlements, which could be very good for commerce. There's, you know, maybe some people won't be as interested in the retail CBDCs, but we'll see how things develop. But it's gotten the idea of crypto into people's minds. They're seeing a bit more about it. More businesses using stable coins, because they're, especially the ones that are pegged to fiat currency, because they're able to transact very fast internationally for virtually no fees, bypassing banks. And they hold their value against the US dollar, so there's not that fluctuation to worry about. But there are also, I mean, this is amazing technology where people are creating sort of digital representations of things in real life, and you know, using them to store and create value. It's quite fascinating. You know, blockchain might be described by some as an accounting technology. I see it more as a governance technology, because it's all about recording these indelibly on a computer network where it can't be changed, and it's, you know, it's the perfect audit record. So so it's records of ownership. To end up on a blockchain, it might be seen as more secure than on a company or government network that might have lots of security in place, but could also be hacked. Or, you know, it'll be interesting to see where the digital assets become perceived as being more valuable than the things in the real world. So they're the different types of assets, crypto assets, to get in familiar with. Okay, Web3. When I'm asked, describe what is Web3, it's the hardest thing to answer, because it's like trying to explain the internet to people in the 90s. I remember using the internet for the first time in 1996, and I didn't understand it, but I could use it. I figured out how to use it without understanding it, and I think that's how a lot of people come to know Web3 too. So the term Web3, it was coined by Gavin Wood, who was the creator of the internet. And he was explaining how the World Wide Web had gone against the original vision. He coined the term Web3 in 2014, believing that decentralized technologies are the only hope of preserving a liberal democracy. So currently in Web 2, you know, which is what most of us are used to using, and yeah, this is kind of like an era of peak centralization, and where communication and commerce takes place on platforms owned by handfuls of super powerful corporations like Google, Facebook, Amazon, and they provide wonderful technology and services to us, but all our data held by them is subject to their control. So Web3 is supposed to break this monopolistic control. And so yes, it's a bit political, it's commercially very competitive, and there's a great massive human will and institutional investment that's driving it to kind of reorganize society and finance according to these new principles. And so yeah, think of Web3 as a new iteration of the internet built on creating value and exchange. Like it's described as an internet of value, or an internet of money, where you own your personal information and your proprietary data, and you can monetize it and you can protect it. And it's about giving control and monetization back to the users. So at a very basic level, Web3 refers to just a decentralized online ecosystem based on the blockchain. So, and so if your clients, competitors are adopting Web3 because that's what consumers are demanding, what they want to use, just keep an eye on it. If your clients are ignoring Web3 and their competitors are using it, then their business models may be at risk in the coming years. So it really depends on their sectors and the consumer trends. And I think as accountants, we need to sort of watch these trends and know how to help our clients enter this space in an organised, compliant way. Otherwise, I don't know, they might find another accountant who can. So,
Electra, I don't know if you cover this further on. If you do, stop us. But we've got a question about what stops blockchain from being hacked. You've said it's immutable and it can't be easily changed. But just give us the brief version of.
Okay, so well, it's everything that's recorded on the blockchain is, if you were to undo it, it would get noticed down the chain in very, very simple terms. So it's a blockchain could be hacked to a 51% attack. For example, if 51% of the computers on the network reached a consensus against the rest, their decision would rule, putting it in really basic terms here. But the more distributed that computer, the larger that computer network is, the harder it is to do that. So if you have just a computer network of 10 computers in a house, and 6 of them could be co-opted very easily, but if those computers are spread out around the world, that's going to be really hard. It also depends on the consensus mechanism for work, proof of stake. There are arguments now that proof of work is less susceptible to that kind of control taking over, but reasons why they're otherwise. So it's a complex area, and people's decisions around which decentralized apps they use and which protocol, which blockchain they'll be on, can be based on sort of beliefs and understandings of which is more secure or not. So understanding decentralization, and I can't give a simple answer, can I? Sorry. I'm trying. Okay, so decentralizing the digital economy. I live in the bush in a shed with Starlink. So for me, you can do DeFi with a metaverse smart city from anywhere, and fancy graphics. Look, I think if you want to speed learn decentralized finance and know how to succeed in the next few years, just stay connected. I'm sharing today just some of what I've seen and engaged with, so that others might get curious and share with me in future. So as I said, this is the new open source mentality that we are knowledge sharers, not knowledge hoarders in this decentralized digital economy. That's how we all benefit. So, this might not be the rule of what's going on, but this is my experience. And I hope today you'll learn a little bit from what I've seen. Okay, so the scale of adoption, how big is this thing? That decides whether we're going to pay attention to it, because our time is valuable. I think the market caps are quite significant. Obviously big companies like Amazon and Microsoft, they have a much higher market cap, but these are creeping up. I think crypto is because of as adoption increases, these caps will rise. Crypto.com, that's a Singapore exchange. They've been doing a lot of research, for themselves and also to for their own market. They expect the global crypto owners to reach 1 billion by the end of 2022. I don't know if that's right, but it's good to see how things go next year and look back on that. And I've also heard it expressed that in the next 3 to 5 years, there might be 3 billion Bitcoin users. Who knows? So it's something to watch. Top 10 countries by cryptocurrency ownership. I find this interesting that Australia is 3rd, so close to 20% in Australia, which is interesting, because it's not like, well, what's driving that adoption? Maybe we should start asking our own clients, why do you buy crypto? There'll be different reasons. Most are storing value. hedging against inflation, or a lot of just experimenting with new crypto sort of fintech, DeFi, NFTs, getting wallets in crypto to start navigating and learning, and they're starting to do it in their businesses here and there. Like, they might not tell you. You might be having to ask, do you have another bank account to add to Xero? Actually, do you have any crypto wallets to add? So, they might not tell us. You might see money come out of the business bank account and go to a crypto exchange, and then have to follow where that goes to from there, and whether it's Division 7A drawings or whether they're actually using it for business, where it's going to end up. So yeah, our Reserve Bank talking a lot lately about CBDCs might have gotten people buying more crypto as an alternative currency. I think there's some aggressive marketing from crypto exchanges entering payment gateway market, encouraging people to start using crypto as a means of exchange, like for buying and selling goods and services. So, if there are CBDCs, there might be, and there's widespread crypto and digital asset adoption, and there might be an argument there, well, why do we need a retail CBDC if we already have digital assets that we're all using? Even Australian stable coins, for example. I think ANZ might have been talking about AUD coin. So if we had that, then why do we need a Gov coin? So there are submissions being invited now for use cases for retail and wholesale CBDCs, and it's interesting to keep an eye on that space. So yeah, I don't know why Australia has such a high rate of adoption, but it's curious.
I think certainly from the ATO perspective, and from what I hear and see in some newsletters, it certainly seems that there's a lot of people who think that it's a way of disappearing money. And as you said before, they might not tell us that they're buying crypto or that they've got their wallets. And so we have to actively ask them if there's anything out there that we should know. So I think that's happening, that people think it doesn't need to be reported, or it's invisible. They don't fully understand that. I had a question there, and now it's left my head. I'll have to come back to that. I was going to say, people listening in, where are your clients at with it? Like, how many of you have clients that are either using it in their business or buying it as an investment or anything else? Just put it in the chat box and let's hear what your clients are doing. I've got a couple that are they've just bought some as an investment. That's it. So I haven't really had anything much to do with using it as a trading currency in business, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that with my clients. Investment and using for goods and services. Yeah, okay.
I'll talk about this, but yeah, just on that point, a couple of, I don't have a lot of clients because we provide sort of internal finance team services these days rather than public accounting, but the companies I'm dealing with, there's SMEs. One is a Web3 developer of a digital identity app, and another is buying crypto from their company because they got huge reserves and putting it into DAOs, which is a horrible mess. Myself, I have bought some just to spread my reserves in my company, and also to experiment with Web3 apps. And so yeah, to learn how to use crypto and deal with it in my business. I've actually bought some in my business.
And do you think it's the younger people who are playing with it more, or do you think that's spread across all generations?
That is this crypto.com research that I'll share with you does show a breakdown of the age groups, male, female. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's a good question. Yeah, so
those links
clients,
go digging.
rather than the sort of older clients might be more exposed to it. And once word gets out that you do deal with businesses with crypto, you'll probably find within a few months those clients double. So start approaching you, word gets around in these circles. It's a very collaborative social kind of
sure.
So yeah, look, business adoption of crypto. Thing is with crypto, Yeah, you can have so many wallets, so many wallet addresses in crypto, even one wallet per transaction. And stable coins are used as well, which have the equivalent value of $1. Recent news, I don't know if you heard about On the Run, there were about 170 fuel stations and convenience stores in Victoria and South Australia last month taking crypto payments from this company called crypto.com. They have their merchant pay facility. So they're breaking into the commercial payment gateways, integrating with familiar platforms. So earlier systems too. So yes, we're seeing crypto.com seems to be really pushing themselves, and they've got crypto.com Visa cards. I don't know if you can get those as a business card, but people might be using them for business. You don't know. People can use it as Google Pay, Apple Pay. I don't know if this is in Australia yet, but it'll be coming. Shopify, so they're getting into the crypto payments, are getting into e-commerce. PayPal, not here. BitPay, that's paying for, online. Coin payments, there are hosted and there are self-hosted options. So, with hosted digital wallets like coin payments, you can take payments for events and things, goods, everything sold online. And they hold your wallets and you can distribute from those wallets to your own company's wallets. And there's also BTC server, this is on an actual hardware where you are hosting it yourself. It is purely peer-to-peer with no intermediaries and no fees. So that's the true Bitcoiner spirit happening there, because that's the idea of sort of Bitcoin, is just no intermediaries and paying no fees, except maybe, the cost of using the network, which is fairly minimal, and especially if you're using the Bitcoin Lightning payments. So yeah, Bitcoin Lightning networks, Wallet of Satoshi, Living Room of Satoshi. They're Australian, been around since 2015. Wallet of Satoshi, I just have that on my phone. In Agnes Water, we've got cafes, pubs here. We use our wallets of Satoshi to get a coffee or a beer or a meal sometimes. It's very, very simple. It's just like scan. They have point of sales for it. Travel by Bit came to our town in 2018. It was an advanced Queensland sort of initiative for tourism. I'll tell you a bit about it shortly. So Travel by Bit point of sales came about and they're like the new sort of crypto.com point of sales, where the consumer pays crypto, but the merchant's receiving fiat. So it's the point of sale, the gateway provider here is acting as an exchange. So the consumer, the customer, is basically disposing of their Bitcoin, having their capital gain, but the merchant is just receiving a remittance of fiat. So with that third party acting, you might have a point of sale where the consumer pays crypto and the merchant receives and uses crypto in their own business, which is more common with people who use solutions like coin payments. There's a new one coming out called FinPay, which looks really interesting. This is just a multi-platform kind of payment gateway aggregator of everything and crypto. So that means basically everyone with a phone will have a point of sale for anything and everything, I think. I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen it in action yet. But again, there'll probably be that option to receive crypto or receive fiat. And there are some who just receive crypto and hang on to the crypto, don't use it they just put it into like savings account, or they convert it to, Australian dollars or a portion for tax to Australian dollars. So that's kind of an area we can help our clients navigate if they are taking crypto in business. So yeah, on that research. So yeah, merchant fees are a bit of a factor with using things like crypto.com. And I was reading like Apple. Now you can like get NFTs, but they charge like a 30% fee. And we use Bitcoin Lightning Network and things that are free for our NFTs. So, people who are new to crypto will probably use these sort of familiar looking types of services, but they still charge fees. And as they become more savvy, they may move to these more sort of decentralized peer-to-peer ways of doing business, which could make our job harder, easier, depends on our level of knowledge. But according to crypto.com, 55% want to transact in Bitcoin and crypto. Who's that 55%? I had a closer look at the study. It's people who, or merchants and consumers who already have crypto. And so Carl Mohan, the crypto.com's general manager, he said the crypto payment option was necessitated by growing demand for cryptocurrencies, with merchants increasingly wanting to utilize digital assets. So the On the Run stores flagged the market ambition to put Australia at the forefront of crypto payments. So this survey of 500 Australian merchants and 2,000 people who have used crypto before, which is said to be maybe a fifth of our population, mostly a younger demographic, according to earlier research by Finder and crypto.com. So yeah, it's not a lot yet, but it gets people talking and wanting to try the new thing. Maybe with On the Run, it'll be a lot of tradies, you know, wanting to use some of their crypto for paying for their petrol. So, you know, how will we become exposed to crypto in business? That could be one way. So you might want to ask if they're using their crypto card for business or is it personal too. We might want to start that conversation, decide how we'll deal with the books. It could be like the described as the shoebox problem all over again, mixing business and personal. fun, got to be on the front foot. So yeah, interesting. What do people want to pay for with crypto? Airlines, travel, retail gives us a little bit of an idea of, you know, if we have clients in these industries, that maybe they'll be exposed first in Australia if this survey is anything to go by. The main barrier to adoption is regulation. So we're yet to see what comes of their review into the taxation of digital assets currently, with the Board of Taxation submissions being due this week. So some clarity could help, because right now it's very hard dealing with the accounting and the tax for business, which I won't go into today, but that is a barrier to adoption. Yeah, and integration into point of sale and payment systems. Well, I think that's going to change. Okay, some tourism adoption initiatives. So this is my own town, Agnes Water 1770 in Queensland. In 2018, we were Australia's first digital currency town. My co-founder at Digital Playhouse, Gordon Christian, he got about 30 merchants in our little town set up so that people could come here and have a holiday on Bitcoin. And they came from around the world, and it was a really good opportunity for the locals to learn, what is this thing? They went along with it. And, they still have their point of sales. They're no longer supported because there's new technology, but we can still buy our coffees from a couple. But I think, you know, with these new payment methods coming in, we could be using our own crypto to pay with Visa cards and Google Pay and things. So maybe they won't need, and there'll be other types of merchant facilities coming. Crypto Coffee in Brisbane, they have Bitcoin meetups, and that's sponsored by SwiftX, so another exchange who I think are trying to encourage adoption. The Adopting Bitcoin Summit in El Salvador. In 6 weeks, I'm going to El Salvador. I'm really excited to research business adoption of crypto in that country, where Bitcoin has been legalized as legal tender. And there's some major investment for tourism going into El Zonte and some other places in El Salvador called Bitcoin Beach. Central African Republic has made Bitcoin legal tender. And so merchants, shop owners in the Central African Republic are using that Australian wallet of Satoshi. I've seen photos of them using it, which is pretty amazing. This company as Techo, they're really interesting. In South Africa this year, this company as Techo added 2,000 retail outlets with physical retail stores earning a commission for selling Bitcoin. So users redeem these like Bitcoin vouchers by entering redemption codes on the as Techo website. They download Bitcoin wallets, such as Wallet of Satoshi that we have, Blue Wallet. There are some others that you can download from app and Google Play. So and this way the Azteco vendors, they get a new revenue stream from commissions from dealing with these Bitcoin vouchers. So Azteco seem to be pretty ambitious globally. According their service aims to expand and simplify financial access for billions who have little access to banks. So will we see this in Australia? Hard to say, but they have 8,000 stores across the USA signed up, they say, where people have access to banks, a few thousand in Europe, 700 in the UK. So, you know, maybe they'll do a crypto.com style marketing campaign on a number of chain stores here, with more retailers than having Bitcoin in their books for us to work with. So, you know, it might be coming from these different initiatives. Other sort of obscure ways, I don't know, does anyone here use Calendly and get their clients to book their own meeting, and at the time takes payment and that whole process of booking? You do that, Jo?
I don't take payment, no, the bookings, but yeah, I've got colleagues in other fields that do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was so excited when I found out how to do that, and I just let clients just book in with me and take payment at the same time from PayPal, and it would be booked in, and it'd go through Xero, and it was all there, and all I had to do was turn up and record my meeting, and the notes would go out. And it was just like fantastic.
Yeah.
Now I've learned how to do this with Bitcoin.
Great.
So I'm a real nerd with I'm in it for the toys. Okay, I've got this consulting consulting sales funnel happening here, which is very like this process. But see, this costs me fees. I have to pay Calendly and PayPal lots of my money. This doesn't. So so I use this program called LNCal I'm setting up. Vita is, you know, this is an amazing concept. Instead of me paying to call people or putting my phone number out on the internet, my contact details, they go to my Vita link and they have to pay to talk to me. So by the minute, or pay to send me a message. So, you know, all those messages you get on LinkedIn, oh, can you tell me this? Can you do this? I want to connect to you. They have to actually pay to talk to you. I love that. So, you know, it has to be worthwhile communication. And so by linking that with that and my Bitcoin Lightning app for my browser and my Blue Wallet, I can kind of get this process happening. So that's what I'm doing. Maybe clients in consulting and creative industries, you might find them using these little apps. And so, you know, there's some interesting value to track. Well, I think we've got to keep asking clients to write down all the wallet addresses that they create. So yeah, but business adoption of crypto in the creative industries. I've for more than 20 years was a creative industries accountant, so I'm really excited by what this can do for creative people to monetize their own ideas and the reputation that they've built over the years for them to actually gain the most value from it themselves. So, you know, these aren't really old, but just for the sake of comparison, these are the programs, these are the platforms we're quite used to using. Spotify tend to take quite a big chunk of money from creatives, and others just don't sort of pay you anything or charge very high fees. Now with there's this platform called Mirror that you can connect to your Web3 wallet. And on Mirror, creators get paid in crypto. So subscriptions, long a popular business model in the traditional web and media sectors, are coming to crypto as well. You've also got the NFT marketplace, OpenSea. It's a digital asset kind of equivalent of eBay, Etsy, or Shutterstock. Fountain, that's a podcasting platform. I was saying to a friend the other day who does podcasts for the accounting industry, I love your podcasts. They're free. Like, do you get paid much for them? I would pay for them. And if she had her podcast on Fountain, she'd be getting paid Bitcoin when I listen to it. So this is about monetizing our reputation and our creations, our content. For the music industry, amazing stuff happening there. It's Ocean Floor Music, kind of like NFT crowdfunding on steroids for musicians to own their work and grow with their fan bases. Tweetoshi, earning Bitcoin using Twitter. Oddsey, like a decentralized YouTube. So if you do have clients in the creative spaces, they could be, you know, setting up wallets on these new platforms to bring crypto into their businesses.
So Electra, I'm just mindful of time.
Sure.
Are you going to touch on tools and technology that
Yes.
bookkeepers and accountants are, might need to know about? I know we're not going to go into any detail, but
I
just
did
to give
lose a bit
us,
of track of time, so I'll just go very quickly onto
yeah,
that.
just flip through this because it's great to see that, but we can look at that later on the
Sure.
on your PDF.
Okay, so we've got investment into mining is happening in a big way. Macquarie Bank, solar energy, just on that. Decentralized apps. These are applications that you find on for web and mobile, so you can interact with Web3 and in sort of familiar looking ways. These smart contracts. I'll just share all this with you. They're not really the thing to understand with smart contracts. People might think, oh, not really interested in the Bitcoin, but smart contracts sound interesting. Well, they don't really, none of this works on its own in the ecosystem. They need to, but the basic idea to understand with smart contracts, that they're just basically an agreement that says every time you do X, then Y happens. Okay, decentralized identity. This is a really fascinating area that is about securing and owning your own identity when you zero knowledge proof ways of accessing platforms. Non-fungible tokens. Now, this is a really interesting area for our own business. All of our business processes, our intellectual property, what we create in our own firms and use could be turned into an NFT and others pay to use it. The travel industry, NFT tickets. If you buy an airline ticket, you can't give it to someone else, or I don't know if you can, but the thing is, with NFT tickets, it would make them transferable, and the airlines, hotels, or event people could make a secondary revenue stream from it. Proof of attendance protocol is really interesting. That's could be a new way of recording CPD. Decentralized finance, that's a big area that some businesses might be getting into, particularly in the lending areas. So borrowing and lending, and that can combine with e-invoicing. Okay. Registering your own domain name. I can build a chart of accounts out of a domain name. I'll do a workshop on that one day. The token economy. This is understanding the flow of value through a tokenized system. Decentralized, virtual spaces, so metaverses. Look, this is something that young people might be into. They're already quite used to virtual kind of worlds, and with gaming, it's kind of an extension of the physical world into that space. And so it's a place for, putting your NFTs and your digital assets to make money on. Now, professional services, this is a really interesting area. Some accountants in the UK have created NFTs for their clients to have membership in their firm to be able to receive benefits. So if any of us wanted to innovate in our own practices, we would look at minor accountants, what they're doing. They're quite interesting. I bought some, but I haven't interacted much with it yet. Now, at Accountants on Chain, we learn a lot about Web3 tooling, but also what could be used in our own practice, because if it's something that's used in our own practice but on familiar platforms, it's a good way to get used to the concepts and how the tools are used. So this is a session coming up on the 12th of October, which is my Web3 accounting practice, something I'll be starting in October, but doing more of in next financial year. Okay, so this is about using a wallet as a service, or your own digital wallet with working with customers. Okay, I won't bother explaining this. Okay, so at accountantsonchain.com, this is where we get to tooling. Okay, so if you have a look on our page, you'll see we've got our past events as videos and articles, and some that are coming up. So we learn about the processes and the and just the ecosystem of crypto in business on the tools. All right, this is what I want to get to with you. So what can we help our clients with? So there are new service model opportunities for advisors who know their way around crypto and could help their clients enter that space. So, you know, many businesses buy their first crypto without a strategy of how they're going to organize it. They don't get accountants advice before buying their first crypto. And, you know, Web3 startups, if you deal with startups, they need guidance with budgets, cash flow and all that. They might just think, oh, it's all on the blockchain. They can just download it and sort it out later. But that is a shoebox you do not want to deal with a year later. All that data on the blockchain does not just feed into Xero. You need to use specialist tooling. And they're called crypto subledger systems. And some of the systems that we are using, like AEM Journaler, Cryptio, Coinbooks, there are various that are suited to different size companies. They have a different cost and they integrate in different ways with Xero. So it really depends on your business, and it's good to, you know, follow our videos to learn a bit about them. So, because it's not going to be easy to put that data into an accounting system unless you really know how to get around it and it's organized well in the beginning. So understanding custody and institutional custody, self-custody of assets, security. It's like, you know, you wouldn't encourage your clients to keep their cash under the mattress or, you know, in a bank that's not reputable. We don't really talk about that stuff so much with our clients, but I think we do need to get a little involved in, you know, the good internal finance policies and procedures, setting those down from the beginning. And crypto treasury management for DAOs and Web3 companies could be a really high growth demand area for us in future. So yes, the tooling that we need to be aware of, invoicing and payments, because in blockchain, if you've got data from the blockchain with no associated, it's got no description like on a bank statement, you don't know what it is. So, but if you're using crypto invoicing systems or payment systems that actually create a transaction linked to that blockchain entry that can be pulled into your accounting system or your crypto subledger software into Xero, then that's going to be a lot easier to manage and automate. Okay, and also financial and management reporting, cash management, inflows and outflows. A lot of it is being in development. It wasn't really around a year ago, and it's all kind of happening now.
You mentioned payroll there.
Yep.
Employees can legally be paid in crypto if they want.
Well, in Australia, to avoid FBT, we generally use a third-party provider, and there's one that I use for my staff who get paid it, and myself getting paid a portion of our salary in Bitcoin goes through a third party, so I'm not actually paying Bitcoin. But overseas, if you're dealing with a decentralized organisation, there'll be payments to contributors that might not be subject to Australian laws. So, you know, it depends on, you know, whether you're dealing internationally or not. But in Australia, that's a well-flagged issue, Jo.
So, I mean, look, from where most of us are now to being interested in it, you know, maybe we've got a few clients who've bought some, but we're not really, you know, active with managing it all. I mean, what's a realistic time frame to kind of you know, get people set up and get, you know, for us to understand it? Like, I think, you know, in talking to colleagues, for example, I know a lot of people are hesitant to go here because we're already time poor.
Yeah.
And we look at it and go, oh my God, how much more do I have to learn about technology and all the new terminology, for example, that you've used today? You know, what do you think about that? Like, what's realistic for us in the industry, you know, at the coalface to really pick it up and be using it for our clients?
That's a really, really good question, because we do, I mean, I had to sell my accounting practice to be able to have enough time to look into this to the level I have. Not everyone can do that, and to study it. Yeah, that's what why I was saying, just keep an eye on your clients. Get this information from your clients, watch their industries, what are the trends with blockchain and crypto in their sector. And be alert to the crypto exchanges getting into payment gateways. I think as there's going to be more talk about, you know, digital currencies, there'll be more sort of competitive activity from crypto exchanges to get Bitcoin and crypto into our retail sector, for example. So
I mean, I know
we might just see the adoption just speed up, but it could be with NFTs as well. People wanting to use NFTs, digitize assets in their businesses.
I mean, I know many have approached Xero, for example, to bring in the tools to make it viable within the accounting software, and that hasn't happened yet. And I don't know if there's other accounting software out there that is integrated, you know, that makes managing crypto a lot easier, or you know, do you expect the main software players to be adopting you know, the functions that will enable us to do it easily? Where is that?
If you look at Xero at Marketplace, like it doesn't seem to be in Xero's interest to be able to do all the things that the apps in their marketplace can do. So I think that we'll see like these sub-ledger tools that get the information, index the data from the blockchain and put it into a usable form, classify it as income and expense, so that it can then be like, you know, they map it so that it can go into Xero out of account.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
they're the tools we use: Cryptio, Coinbooks, AEN Journaler, Bitwave for larger enterprises, Request Finance for invoicing and payment.
Okay. So that's great, that slide right there, because that shows us what you've got on your website that people could go and listen to or read, or for the ones coming up, you know, enroll in those to learn more about the tools. So that's great. Thank you.
Access is free and by donation. So, you know, it's
okay.
And people get recordings as well, because you want to watch it 5 times.
Right. Yeah.
This one coming up, DTOF, on next week, will be a good one to learn about, you know, what features need to be in this kind of software. This one isn't on the market yet, but it'll be a great opportunity to learn about which tools are needed by which clients and typical problems we run into with accounting software. So it's not about learning everything right now, but being aware, on the lookout. Yeah.
But it sounds like your Accountants on Chain is, you know, a really great resource for us to stay plugged in and keep, just sort of keep it on our radar, I guess, to be aware of the changes coming. Great. So we've just got, okay, so no Q&A. All right. So people, any final questions before we finish up? That hour went really quickly.
It went so fast. I didn't know I could talk so much. I just wanted to add to, even though we're going now, this is the course I'm doing, the Advanced Diploma of Applied Blockchain. But there's an 8-week RMIT course that I did a few years ago, which is great to get the fundamentals. There's so much on YouTube. Like just watch this Whiteboard Crypto, have great little short videos to just digest concepts. Finance Academy, they have good little courses. Just do bits and pieces.
I did one on, it might have been Udemy. It was a short course on something like that to give me a bit of an intro a year or two ago, and that was really good to understand a bit more about the technology behind it all. So there's lots out there to help us get a handle on it for sure. Okay, no further questions have come in. Okay, we will whatever slides you're happy to share, send them through to me and I will get that uploaded with the recording to our website and YouTube channel. I look forward to learning more about this world. It's really fascinating to see it all evolve, you know, in the last few years and whatever's coming in the next few years.
Yeah, and don't be overwhelmed by it. Just keep an eye on it, be curious. I think there are a lot of exciting opportunities for us, and you know, it's still all very early days. So. Yeah,
and you know, we've got the platforms to share the information, as you were saying earlier, you know, really learn from each other and not get overwhelmed. Many questions I'm sure that didn't get answered that we would love to, but we would need 3 hours for that. So
feel free to email me your questions afterwards. I'll put the questions all together into another little recorded.
Well, it's
thing.
fantastic to get that overview, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jo. Thanks everyone for coming along. And
we'll stay connected. And thanks everybody. And we will see you next month, which is about digital online security and fraud protection, I think, from memory. So, all right. Thanks again, Electra. Thanks everybody.